Hello everyone. So I've got hold of a USB splitter and a USB keyboard now, which has opened up a whole new field of possibilities with my A500 Mini, because now I can play lots of old Amiga games that really did require a keyboard. In particular this one here, Microprose B17 Flying Fortress. I used to love this game, but this is a layout of the keyboard instructions, and you can see it absolutely essential. That's the thickness of the manual that you have to read. One screenshot, just part of the pilot's viewpoints. So these are all his instruments and dials and so on. So lots and lots to learn with this game. It has such depth in it. You take the role of all 10 crew members of a B-17 Flying Fortress, flying bombing missions over Europe in the Second World War, obviously. Formations, it's quite a small scale. You know, the formations are only 3 planes, but you have to maintain formation. As I say, you have to cope with all the demands of each of the 10 crew members. So you have to, well, you don't have to, but you can act as pilot, co-pilot, bombardier, navigator, gunner at any of the various gunnery positions, such as the chin, the tail, the top turret, the ball turret, the waist guns. It's just immense, and it's packed full of incident. The one thing that you do have to take into account, though, that this is a game of its time, and we're talking about the 1990s here, and the graphics are very basic, so it's not got the photorealism of any contemporary computer games, but it has got, as I say, it has got such complexity in it, so much to play, so many things that can happen, engine problems, fires breaking out, crew members getting injured and requiring first aid, all that sort of thing, as well as you do have to navigate your way. You can get lost if you're not keeping an eye on the map and checking the map off against ground features, and you score far more highly, and if you act as the bombardier and take over at the northern sites and so on, and drop the bombs from the navigator's position. One thing that I just cannot do is really fly the plane in terms of takeoffs and landings, but you don't have to worry about that. If you're no good at taking off, you just pass the controls onto the computer and it will do it all for you. So you can play it up to your own capabilities. So I'm going to take you on a mission, show you some of the gameplay. The idea of the game is that you have to complete 25 missions, and I'm going to show you a sort of middle mission. I think it's the 10th mission of the crew of a plane with the nickname of Stormy Weather. So off we go. Right, so this is the nose of the stormy weather. So far completed 9 missions, indicated by the 9 bombs, and the Walking crosses are the number of planes that it has shot down so far. Here's a photo of the crew. All the crew members have background stories and identities. So for instance, this is Carl O'Rourke, the right way sculler, who's completed 7 missions. He skipped a few because he was injured, hence the Purple Heart. Then we'll look at the bomber's history itself. So this is the missions it's flown so far, with details of how many enemy planes have been shot down and so on, and the various crew members. See here, I mean, as the campaign goes on, you fly more and more missions over Germany. So now, what is the mission for today? We're going to the mission briefing, and first of all we get a brief description of it. So the force is to attack the Krupp works at Essen, so we're flying over the Ruhr today, so we can expect some heavy opposition in terms of enemy fighters, and anti-aircraft fire is likely to be heavy, so it's going to be a fairly dangerous mission. Just get a rough idea of the route from the map. So we're flying out from a base at Alkenbury along the yellow line. Once at Arnhem we begin to approach Essen along that red line, then back along to Dieppe, and north from Dieppe, hopefully home to our base in Cambridgeshire. Now this is a good aspect, some reconnaissance photography of the targets, really worth studying these, because when you're flying over the target area you don't get much time to spot your target and so on. Even though the graphics are really rudimentary, it's still not easy to pick the target out, even on a sort of flat surface. So that is the Krupp works there. To try and memorise. And the thing to point out here is at the right there is an airfield, so that gives me a good idea from the bomber's point of view to look out for an airfield, and I know the Krupp works is close to it. This is the secondary target, which we're not likely to bomb, but it's always worth getting this is a benzol production plant, I believe. So we'll just get a rough idea of what that looks like, just in case we have to switch to our secondary target. As I say, graphics are really crude, but the whole thing knits together really well. It works really well as a whole. It becomes quite sort of believable, and it does immerse you. So we can accept that mission. I've already configured everything. I've given the guns unlimited ammunition. So this is the position. You start off in the pilot's position, and the hand in the bottom left hand corner means that I have control of the pilot's position. But as I say, I'm not going to attempt to take the plane off. So once I've shown you all these various views you get, this is the instrument panel, or the centre part of the instrument panel. There's also a right there and a left-hand part as well, which we'll probably go back to. Yeah, I'm gonna hand over to the computer to actually start the plane. There we go. So Don is my co-pilot, and he's informing me that engine 1 has started. Now engine 2, and we can leave the pilot to fly the plane. I'll just show you a little bit around the plane here. So we've got 10 crew members. This is the bombardier, who's actually manning the chin turret at the moment. So this is the sort of view you get from the chin turret. It's a nice 180-degree arc of fire, but a bit limited upwards, but a lot more of an angle downwards, so he's got quite a wide range of attack. But the thing is, if he's bombing, then he's not at that position. This is an outside view of the plane. Just spinning around there now, so you can see it. It's in a sort of parked in a bay, and it's making its way to the runway. This is a chase view of it. The co-pilot is telling me my current speed. This is an external view of Alconbury. So this is the airfield that I'm going to have to look out for on the homeward journey. This is my home base, so hopefully I'll see that again. And as I say, I'll leave it to the Abe, the pilot, to take off. This is just a view from the pilot's window, but as you can see, the computer's got control. We've got the bottom left hand corner there. Now we're in the top turret, and I've taken over manual control of that just to show you a view from the top turret. You can see one of the other planes in the formation taxiing towards the runway over to the left there. But that is an external view of one of the other planes, and this is the third plane. And now we're back with the top turret gunner. Now the tail turret. So obviously can't show you the whole flight. This is the navigator's, one of the navigator's views, which is the map, and you can see there that Don, the co-pilot, is kind of keeping me informed, even though I'm not playing the pilot. He's keeping the player, as it were, informed of the plane's speed and altitude and so on. So I'll let the pilot take off, and then we'll fast forward it a little bit. Otherwise, you're just flying for hours, without any, hopefully without any incident. It's just to give you an idea of the atmosphere really that the game generates, even with really clunky, blocky graphics of the 1990s. You probably noticed, but at the top there it'll always give you the description of the viewpoint. So this is looking from the point of view of the top turret gunner at the moment. This is the ball turret, so this is the first time I've shown you this. So this is the turret underneath the aircraft, so you're looking at the wheels as it trundles along the tarmac there. That's the rear wheel. Some of the airport buildings in the distance there. Now it looks like we're on the external view, but it looks like we're on the main runway here. And the two planes ahead of us are taking off. So just picking up speed now. Here we go. 20 miles an hour, so we're gathering speed to take off, back with the ball turret. 40 miles an hour. And you'll see the tail, there we are, the tail, I think, maybe not, no, the tail will lift in a moment. There it is, that's the tail lifting as we pick up speed. So just got to increase speed now until the plane lifts off the ground. There we go, just lift it up. So the undercarriage will retract. That's it. So if you were playing the pilot, these are all things that you would have to do manually. But as I say, leaving it to the computer to do that. And that's the view of the airport disappearing in the background from the tail turret. Now we're going to fast forward a little bit. So now we're about 1,000 feet in the air, just coming into formation with the other two planes. There they are. That's the view from the top turret. So we're in formation now. We're not the lead plane, but if I leave it up to the computer to pilot the plane, then the pilot will maintain formation. So you can see the altitude there is about 1,000 feet. So that's the dial to the left of the screen. Our speed is just under 200 miles an hour. Now we're going to jump a little bit of time. There we go, you saw the plane leap forward, so we're now over Thetford now, so I'm just checking from the bull turret that we're somewhere near Thetford, and our navigation is going like that's Thetford there, that sort of grey area, so I'm happy with that. So we go back to the map and jump again, and now we're approaching the coast, so lower stuff should be dead ahead. Just to confirm that again. That again, that grey area is lower stuff on the coast. So skip forward again, and now because we're at a waypoint, the time skip stops there. So now we're in the plane and it's turning onto a different course over lower stuff. It's going to set off over the North Sea. There's the other two planes I'm keeping position with. So now there won't be much to navigate by, so I'm just going to skip right across the North Sea, and now we're approaching The Hague, hopefully. Yep. So there's the Dutch coast, and The Hague is that sort of grey area at the bottom right corner of the screen there. Now I'm happy with the navigation, do that forward again, and now we're over Arnhem, we're approaching another waypoint. And this waypoint will be the last waypoint before the actual bombing run. So from here it's a straight line course to Essen. From now on we can expect to be intercepted by fighters and so on, and to be shot at by anti-aircraft fire. So I can afford, I think, just to make one more. That's a skip just to the turn. One more skip, and from this point onwards it's best to not to skip forward, because we're very close to the area of interest now. So I just want to let the game run its course. Don't want to be sort of taken by surprise by any incidents. And you can see the actual targets, the red line is on the far side of the kind of built up area, the grey area of Essen. So I know I've got to fly over part of the city of Essen before I get to my target. So there's the grey area there, underneath the left undercarriage wheel. Just looking around to get my bearings from the bull turret. Keeping my eye out for enemy fighters. Other gunners and so on will shout targets out. This is a view of the plane, so everything is functioning at the moment. Murray in the chin turret is the bomb that's told me that he spotted some fighters, and sure enough there are 3 enemy fighters coming in now. Usually they attack from there, which makes it very hard to shoot at them without risking shooting your own planes. But one of the planes has just slipped below the horizon, so I'm going to try and pick that one off from the bull turret first of all, where there's no risk of me hitting friendly. So here he comes. You have to try and lead your fire. No joy with him. Top turret, one just shot past there. So I'll have a go at this third plane. To hit him either. Because I've got unlimited ammunition, I'm not worried about firing carelessly. So I've got ammunition that I can afford to spend. But if it was limited ammunition, I wouldn't be firing at them at this point. I'd wait until they were easier targets. I'm just having a look again to check everything is undamaged. The area of damage would show up in red, or you get oil leaks and so on. Fires show up as flame, but untouched so far. But equally, I haven't managed to damage any of the enemy aircraft. So here they are, they're coming in for another run at me. Got one. But the lead plane in the formation is on fire now. One of the engines has caught fire, hit by enemy fire. These are external views. That's the plane on fire. That's there's the crashing enemy fighter and the other one, and now I'm back in the top turret. Still undamaged. Essen's getting a little bit closer, but I've still got a bit of time to try and deal with these fighters. I mean, when you get near the target, there's nothing to do other than to leap to the bombardier's position and hope that your the artificial intelligence gunners are going to be able to fend off any attacking fighters and so on. If you have a fire on an engine of your own plane, then you can take the pilot's position and attempt. There's a fire extinguisher, a single-use fire extinguisher in each engine. Okay, now I'm going to. Now I know where I am. I'm going to put the navigator at the a gun and switch the bombardier over to the bombardier's position. And now the plane is being steered by the bombardier. So I'm turning the plane to the left. Notice that the bomb doors had already been opened automatically by the computer, so because it knew we were approaching the target. But the target is somewhere along that right edge of the grey area. So I need to be heading in that direction, and from the photo reconnaissance at the beginning of the game, I'm pretty sure it's sitting across that dark line. There are two lines running parallel. I'm pretty sure it's where that upper line of the two parallel lines meets the grey area. You can see there's something else a little bit further along. That's another target. That's not the target I'm interested in. And now there's flak going off, so that could really throw you off your line of approach. You can obviously damage your aircraft or injure crew members as well if it hits. And there's a sort of dark grey area just appeared. That is it, that's my target. So now what I have to do is maintain the crosshairs of the gun sight over that area. Once I'm in range, I'm not quite in range yet, over that area for about 15-20 seconds, and if I succeed in doing that, don't get jolted off of the approach, then the bomb release cue, the third light down, will come on, and I can drop the bombs and hopefully they'll fall on target. And in doing this manually as well, the other two bombers in the formation of flying on my approach, so they will drop on my cue rather than me following the lead bomber, which is what would happen if I was doing this using the artificial intelligence. If you don't get that bomb release cue, there's nothing for it but to close the bomb doors and go around again. That can be, you know, pretty hairy, so it gets quite stressful at this point, waiting for that light to come on, but we're not really within range yet. The target will get a bit clearer in a moment. You'll be able to see individual buildings within it, within that area. Thought the one just appeared then, maybe not. Yep, there we go. So this is the crucial part now. We've got to try and keep steady, not get shaken off by the flak. Wait for that light to come on. There's the cue, so we drop the bombs. Bomb's gone, so I now close the door, take off the sight active, and I can put the bombardier back onto the chin turret, and now I'm looking from the bull turret just to give you a view of the bombs dropping. Had a radio message from the other planes that they've dropped their bombs as well, so they're all descending, and there they go, landing right on target. So that's a successful bombing run. Now we just got to get the plane home safely. There's a close-up of the crop works, smoking, part of it in ruins. And still undamaged. It's pretty good going. Now we've just got to stay in formation, try and keep calm. And the other two planes. That plane with the engine on fire isn't going to survive the mission. You can, you know, once you get an engine fire, unless you manage to extinguish it, the plane will. The fire will spread before long. So I'm afraid his time is measured now. Just looking at the navigator's map. When things like this are going on, like flak, you can't fast forward. So you just got to let the game run. View from the tail turret down at the burning Krupp factory. As I say, the graphics are very crude, but the whole thing just sort of works so well as a package. I think I used to really love this game. I still do. Having great fun playing it again. And this is where I noticed that the bomb doors for some reason are still open. I don't know whether that's a glitch in the program or something, but I've gone back to the bombardier, going to go back to the gun sight position, open the doors again, and then close them, and hopefully the doors will be shut. It does sort of drag a little bit, so they impair your flying. Just had a message that, there we go, bomb doors open, bomb doors closed. Go back to the auto it just to check, put him back onto the gun, go back to the ball turret, check, yep, bomb doors are closed now, just in time to have a shot at some of those approaching fighters. We're going to start with the one that's lower, the lower of the three. Looking from the top turret. And engine 4 is losing oil. So we've taken a bit of damage, and eventually that engine will overheat and then catch fire. So at some point I'm going to have to think about switching it off, feathering the engine. I think I'm tracking, yeah, planes are really difficult to see when they're green against green. Camouflage works quite well, but I can see there's one. Here it comes. Didn't get him. You can see some oil from engine 4 at the top there. I can tell there's some damage there. It's not easy at all hitting these targets, and really don't want to try and hit any friendly planes. It's difficult shooting when they're in that position there. And there, I don't think that was me, I think that was just the lead plane in my formation just giving up. Don't think that was friendly fire. So now there's just the two of us. Now Murray, who I think is the bombardier, has been wounded. Yeah, you can see a red cross against his icon there. So I'm going to use the radio operator, who's still at the radio, to go to the front of the plane and try and administer some first aid. And while I'm there, I'll go to the pilot. Yeah, so he's fixed Murray. This is just manual on the pilot, and we're going to try and switch off. We're not going to try, we are going to switch off engine number 4, so that's looking at it. You can see the propeller spinning there, and I've feathered it so it's stopped spinning. So hopefully that won't overheat and catch fire. Okay, so now the radio operator, we're going to move him back to the radio compartment, because sometimes that's important for getting messages from other planes and so on. And now we're back at the top turret, and it looks like all the fighters have departed. So we might be able to skip forward a little bit in time now. Yep, there we go. Now we're approaching Eindhoven, and now there's more fighters, so it's not allowing me to skip forward any further. So now we have to deal with the next wave of enemy fighters coming in. There they are. Another friendly plane is still with me. And I'm putting the navigator onto a gun as well, because the more guns come to bear the better. But all the time he's on that gun, he's not navigating, so I can drift off course quite easily if too much time goes by. Chin turret's been hit, which means the gun is probably jammed, and the engine 4 is on fire. Despite having turned it off, it probably got hit by a bullet or something. So now there's smoke streaming from the engine, and I've got one shot. I accidentally try and extinguish engine 3, and now we're going to try. There we go. Fired the fire extinguisher on engine 4, and we put the fire out. But I have wasted the fire extinguisher on engine 3, which is a bit unfortunate. Did that in my panic. You can see the nose chin turret gun is jammed there in red, and I've got another injury there. The co-pilot's injured, so the radio operator is going to go forward and try and attend to him. Meanwhile the enemy fighters are still attacking me. 3 men has patched up Don, and Murray has unjammed the chin turret. Not having much luck shooting these planes down. As I say, it's not easy at all. And now we got one of the ailerons as well, it's been damaged. So the enemy fighters are withdrawing, so I'll go back to the map. Quick look around, make sure they've all gone. The other plane seems to be okay, no smoke coming out of it. We'll try and jump forward again, I think. Yep, there we go. So now I should have Antwerp across to my right. There it is, that's Antwerp. So I know I'm still on course, more or less where I should be. Leap forward again and again. Now Lille is just beneath me, hopefully. Got some more fighters coming in. And they're ME110s, so they're even more kind of nippy and difficult to hit. See the stopped engine there. There's oil coming out of engine 3 as well now, or out of the wing there. So I'm beginning to take damage. Engine 2 now is losing oil as well. You have to make your choice, you can't deal with everything at once. So there's a plane approaching from underneath there that I can't move about. I just shot at this one. Top tight. Yeah, got him. So you can see the trail of smoke from the plane I just shot down. A couple of parachutes there where the 2 crew bailed out. Smashes into the ground. Now, what happened there was that ME110 actually flew into the other plane. It wasn't me shooting it down. See, there's the remnant of the ME110. So now I'm on my own. But you can see some of the crew jumping out of that B17. There, so they are managing to jump out. Usually when you jump out over enemy territory, though, you're taken prisoner and your campaign is over. But sometimes the resistance find you and you get back to England to fight again. So I've skipped forward again, and now, you know, having done that, I've allowed the engine to catch fire. Engine number 2 is now on fire. So I've still got a fire extinguisher I can use, but it's stopped, as you can see. There's the flames coming out of it. So let's try and extinguish it. Fired. And the fire is out. And now there are more bandits coming to attack. But at this point I'm on my own. There's absolutely no point in flying the rest of the course, so I'm just going to take the bearing on Alconbury and turn the plane and head straight towards my home. Try and get home before more disaster befalls me. So you can see I'm manually flying the plane now, just turning the rudder, not banking the wings, and we're turning around to a course of 325, which was what the navigator told me was the correct bearing for Alconbury. Now I'm putting the navigator onto a machine gun and we'll try and tackle these enemy fighters that are coming in. I can see the French coast there in the distance, so got to get away from enemy held territory. I'll feel safer then. Pilot's been hit. So there you can see the pilot needs first aid. So again, we're going to try and get the trusty radio operator to deal with the medical emergencies. Now I've got a fuel leak. I took some damage from that fly past there. And there's another fire on engine 4, and I've already used the fire extinguisher on that. So now I've got a big problem, because I've got an engine on fire and I can't extinguish the fire, and my pilot is wounded. So, oh right, no, he's just been fixed. So my only option now is I'm at about 15,000 feet, so I'm going to try and do a really steep dive and hope that the airspeed is sufficient to put the fire out. And it's really hard to do this. You have to go at about 350 miles an hour, but you go much higher than that and the plane shakes itself apart. So this is really risky, but it's the only option I've got. So the altitude now is plummeting and my speed isn't. I'm being a little bit too cautious here. So I just had a message that below 10,000 feet, so we can come off oxygen now. I'm running out of height here, sort of chicking out at this point, and just pull back slightly. 5,000 feet, 4,000 feet. That's the angle of my descent. It's not steep enough. It's not steep enough. I risk crashing into the ground now. So very soon now I'm going to chicken out. Pull up. I've still got about 600 feet off the ground and I've still got an engine on fire, so I'm in big trouble. So I know now that I'll be lucky to get home. That's the view from the waist gun on the starboard side, showing my engine on fire. I'm going to be lucky to get home, and I'm so close to the ground that I'll be lucky to bail out. If I bail out over France, there's a good chance that the campaign is over, that I'll be taken prisoner. So really I'm looking at bailing out over the channel and hoping that I'll be picked up by a rescue plane. It's pretty obvious that in a moment that time that the navigator, so I'm over the Pas de Calais, the flying bomb site there, but it's pretty obvious that the navigator's time spent at the machine gun has meant there's a bit of an error on where I am on the map now, because you can see I'm over France on the map, but I'm just right over the coast there. So but I'm heading vaguely north. I'm heading over the channel, and if I keep going in that direction, eventually I'll get to England, but I've got very little hope of seeing England again, because that fire will take hold before I get there. It's just a matter really of holding out, waiting to see how far I can get before I decide to abandon the plane. Two engines stopped, one on fire. There's the trail of smoke from my fire, France in the distance, and I'm just correcting my position on the map there. Just give me a slightly more accurate position on the map, because I'm definitely over the English Channel now. No sign of the English coast. That's the French coast there. Correcting my position again a little bit, so I must be closer to the French coast than the English coast. I can see one and not the other. And that's it, it's all over. Fire spread, the plane's disintegrating, and you can see a few of the crew, there we are, jumping out. So hopefully they'll get out there and landed in the sea. So you've bailed out over the sea, hope starts to fade as night falls, but you are lucky you've been spotted by a passing aircraft. So I do get back to England, but what shape am I crew in? So, direct hit on the primary target, shot 3 enemy planes down. No decorations or promotions awarded this mission. But there are some crew members that received Purple Hearts. And then there's lots of seriously wounded crew who've been transferred to other duties. So they disappear from the photograph. So 4 members of the crew left, and they're being replaced by green crew members, so they're going to have to build up their experience as the missions go on. So that's it, that's an example mission of B17 Flying Fortress. Just give you that's mission 10, direct hit, 3 enemy planes shot down. that's in the log now. So the campaign goes on, but a lot of injury there. Thanks for watching.